The living room was bathed in the soft glow of various screens. Dad scrolled through news articles on his phone. Mom was absorbed in a cooking show on her tablet. 10-year-old Emily and 8-year-old Ethan were lost in the digital world of their video games. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was familiar. This was how many evenings were spent in their home. Mom glanced up from her tablet, her eyes lingering on the screen for a moment longer than usual. She looked around the room, taking in the quiet, almost eerie stillness that had settled over their home. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, bringing back memories of a time when their home was filled with the sounds of chatter and laughter. She remembered a time before screens dominated their lives, a time when evenings were spent together, truly together. Back then, evenings were filled with board games, storytelling, and laughter. The living room was a hub of activity, a place where stories were shared and memories were made. She missed those days, the days of genuine connection and shared experiences, the days when they would sit around the table talking about their day, sharing their dreams and fears. Dad, sensing her gaze, looked up from his phone. He noticed the wistful look in her eyes, a look that spoke volumes. He seemed to understand her unspoken longing, the silent plea for a return to those simpler times. They shared a silent conversation, their eyes reflecting a shared desire for something more, a desire to reconnect, to bring back the warmth and closeness that had once defined their family.
I have an idea,
Dad announced suddenly, breaking the silence. The kids, their eyes still glued to their screens, barely reacted. Dad, undeterred, continued with a mischievous grin.
How about a treasure hunt?
He suggested, his voice filled with excitement. Mom, catching his enthusiasm, chimed in.
We can have clues and everything.
The idea hung in the air, a stark contrast to the digital world that had captivated them moments before.
A treasure hunt? That sounds like so much fun.
Emily and Ethan finally tore their eyes away from their screens, their curiosity piqued by the mention of a treasure hunt.
A treasure hunt? Really? Where do we start?
Ethan asked, a flicker of interest in his eyes. He had always loved stories of hidden treasures and secret maps.
What kind of treasure are we looking for? Is it gold? Jewels?
Emily, initially hesitant, started to warm up to the idea. She loved puzzles, and the thought of solving clues excited her. Mom and Dad exchanged knowing smiles. This was the reaction they were hoping for. They had planned this adventure to get the kids off their devices and into the real world.
It's a secret, and the only way to find out is to follow the clues. Are you ready for the challenge?
He pulled out some paper and colorful markers, starting to write the first clue. The kids watched eagerly, their excitement growing with each stroke of the marker. This was going to be an adventure they would never forget. The house transformed into a world of adventure. Laughter filled the air as the kids raced from one clue to the next, their earlier preoccupation with screens completely forgotten. The clues led them through the living room, into the kitchen, and even out into the backyard. Each solved clue brought them closer to the hidden treasure and closer as a family. The joy on their faces was infectious, reminding Mom and Dad of the simple pleasures of togetherness. The final clue led them back to the living room, where a beautifully wrapped box awaited. The children's eyes sparkled with excitement as they eagerly tore off the wrapping paper, revealing the surprise inside. Inside, they found a collection of board games, art supplies, and a book of riddles. Each item seemed to hold a promise of fun and creativity, waiting to be unlocked. The board games promised hours of laughter and friendly competition, the art supplies invited them to unleash their imaginations, and the book of riddles challenged their minds. The real treasure, they realized, wasn't the contents of the box, but the rediscovery of their family time. It was a moment of pure joy and connection. As they gathered around the table, choosing a game to play, they felt a sense of unity and togetherness that had been missing for a while. The simple act of deciding on a game brought them closer, as they laughed and debated over which one to pick. Mom and Dad felt a sense of contentment. They watched their children's faces light up with joy, and they knew they had made the right choice. They had found their way back to each other, rediscovering the simple pleasures of spending time together. Away from the allure of screens, they reconnected through meaningful interactions and shared activities. And into the heartwarming embrace of shared experiences, they found a renewed sense of belonging and love.
The treasure hunt was a reminder that sometimes all it takes is a little creativity and effort to bring a family closer together. To rediscover the magic of togetherness, they realized, was the greatest treasure of all. It was a journey worth taking, filled with laughter, love, and unforgettable memories.